All right, good morning all. We're going to solve this problem. We asked to generate the Java program that generates graphical user interface as it is being displayed here. If you look at it very well, actually there wasn't anything called alignment here. No layout managers, right? No layout managers. You can see the text box here is moving. It's more lengthy than it's larger than the one below. Things like that. Maybe later we discuss layout managers, but let's just create this. The aim here is the functionality. So from our Eclipse IDE, okay, let me close all these. All right, let me create a class called Cycle Matters, for example. Sorry, a project called Cycle Matters. Is this visible? I think let me change it to white. Let the theme be white. Or Windows, I think. I think this is more visible, right? Huh? This is more visible. So file, new, Java project. Then we give it a name. Cycle Matters, right? These are information regarding the settings for the JRE, which is JDK JRE 1.8. Unless if maybe you are writing or you want to use a kind of native program you've written maybe in the previous versions of JDK. Maybe you've written a Java program using JDK 1.6, 1.7. Then you change to that. Otherwise, you can go by the default. So you click on Finish. After clicking on Finish, it creates the project for you here. Let me magnify so you see what we're talking about. This is the project as it is created. Look at it, Cycle Matters. So then you right-click on the project and create a class. If you like, you can create a package. Let's just create a class. We're going to discuss how you create package later. So it's going to give us a default package. So in the class here, I need a main method and I need a constructor. So I'll give it a name called area of, let's just say area and perimeter. You can name it anything you like. Perimeter of cycle, for example. Then you click on what? Finish. For this, I don't need to magnify since I can zoom the window. I think it's okay as it is. So please, let's understand some basic things here. This is the state of the class, right? Which is what? Public. And then this is the class, what is it? The class keyword, right? This is the keyword that tells us that this is a class declaration. And then this is the class name, a very lengthy one. So this is the delimiter for the class, where the class starts. And this is where the class ends. End of the class. And then we'll have a constructor here. We said public, and then we call the name of the class here. This is the reason why we call it constructor. Constructor, it's always a method, but a special one since it is containing the same name of the class. It is the only object allowed to do so in Java program. So then here we are being instructed to write our stuff. So let me mark the end of the what? End of the constructor. And then here, this is the main method. We all know the reason why we need main methods, right? Without main method, your program or your class will not be executed by the Jframe. So, end of the main method. Okay? So, let us understand some basic things. This constructor is the method that enables us to initialize all our variables. And this is what actually enables our program. That's where the execution starts, this main method. So what you do for the first time is to create the object of the class here. New what? The class name. And what is the class name? Are you afraid? Area and perimeter of cycle. So this is the class object. What did I say? I said class name. Yes, you call the class name for you to create the class object. So this is the class object, if you like, instance of the class. So now these are the basic things you need to understand. Next, you're going to start solving the problem. Please, let's look into the problem for the second time. We need radius, we need area, we need perimeter. All of these are two. One is level, one is what? TXT. Is it? This is level and this is TXT. Is it not? Text box. And then we need about 4 different buttons. So let's start. Let me start by writing for the JText field radius, right? That is the text field for the radius. Please look very well here. Let me remove this. I imported it automatically because when you press Control spacebar, it gets to give you code guessing window. Then when you select it, to populate everything automatically for you. But you see, by the time I removed the import statement, what happened was that it has given us an error message, is it? And this error message is about the import. We haven't done import for the particular library we are trying to use. The JText box or JText field, sorry, it's a library under the Java swings or Javax swings. So you need to write import javax.swings. Okay? So if you don't want to do it yourself, you can just click on this import button and it will do it for you. So import javax.swings.jtext field. So this is the import. This comes from the library. It is an API for the text box, and there are many things. This is a swing. There are many things under the swing library. One is what? JText field. Okay. So let's understand this. Next, we need a private, another JText field, right? For what? You're not talking. For the perimeter, is it not? This is what I'm doing. This very one. This is the JText field, not this. This is level. This is JText field. This is JText field. This is another JText field. You know, we are not doing drag and drop. We are developing it ourselves from Eclipse. So we need to define each and every one. The reason why we don't want to do drag and drop is that actually we're learning from you know, academics. Of course, when you start doing it from you know, industry perspective, you need to jump into drag and drop, and it's going to be easier for you since you know how to code it yourself. So we need that of area and we need that of parameter. So let me write that of area first. Okay, and let me do that of parameter. I can just say Perry, for example. So these are text fields generated for, declared for the area, radius, area and perimeter. Then let me do same for the label. Private JLabel LBL radius. Okay, so I need that of no space, LBL radius. Can you see it has added another input for me here for JLabel? This to tell you that if I continue to import or to make use of swing components, if I use 100 swing components, it will continue to add, and actually the program will be lengthy. So we can do one thing. Let me remove all and import all classes of swings, and then I will represent this by asterisk, and then it becomes okay. Since I've represented all, that means I've imported all classes under all classes under the library swing. Do we understand? Okay. So JLabel here, I need JLabel for radius. I've done that of radius. Let me do for area, and let me do for what? For the Perry. Please, for the txt, we need to introduce, by convention, we need to write txt here. So by mere looking at the variable member, you understand that it is txt. You don't need to start checking whether it is txt or whatever. Then next is we need buttons. So for the button, J button. Then for the button, the convention is you write btn, say area, for example. You precede btn before writing the name of the button. Then Perry, for example, and what? Let's look at what this is. What I'm doing: area, Perry, clear, and exit. Clear and what? Exit means you close. Let's say close. It sounds more beautiful than saying exit. So I think we are done with the declaration of all. For those who are actually, what I'm doing, you're supposed to be listening, because I may not entertain any questions since we actually explaining everything vividly. You listen. I'll give you 10 minutes after when I'm done, so you do same, and then we proceed. So we're done with the declaration of variable. This is what we call variable declarations from here to here. Variable declarations, and they are all encapsulated since they are being declared with private visibility, right? So now in the constructor over here, we're going to be initializing the variables. Okay, the first thing you need to do, of course, there is something I forgot here. I need to call private panel, because we're going to be using panel, private JPanel and panel. So I call it panel. Okay, all right. So, but then this declaration of the method or declaration of the class we have done actually will not warrant us to start using panel and Jframe, because we haven't extended to the Jframe class. So what you need to do next is to extend this to the Jframe class. So it will enable you to inherit properties of the Jframe class, and then it will give you such behavior in your class. So now next you do extend. What is this? Okay, sorry. The class here. You extend what? Jframe. This Jframe is a class, but a built-in class. It has been developed by the developers of the system, and then it contains the window characteristics, as we have explained in the theory class. So then we have extended it. Now we can start doing some work here. But before I put in anything on it, Let us try to display the Jframe itself. Okay, let's display the Jframe. And first of all, let me create the JPanel object. As we said, within the constructor over here, this is our constructor. We need to be defining all our, we need to initialize all our variables, all our objects, and all that we wanted to display on the. So the first thing is we have an object called panel, and we want to initialize it. We now say panel equals to JPanel. What have we done here, please? Who can tell us? We created an object for who? For the what? JPanel, right? Is it not? So now that means it has been created, and if you can recall the three principles or three characteristics of objects, the identity, the behavior, and the state. So two have been done here. We have state over there. Here the state is private, and then we have created an object here, which, okay, we have given it an identity, and here we have created the object. And then as it is being created, a memory space, memory allocation for the object will be allocated, and then we have already stated that nobody knows the identity of the object unless the JVM itself, but you can use what we call what we use to generate to know some portion about the memory, the object. What do we know? What do we use? No one can recall. It's 10. It's 10. No problem. Just get seated. So it has been created here. Actually, this panel, that's where we'll be adding our components. We continue to add all components on panel, and later we add panel on Jframe. Are we there? So now I haven't added any component, right? But I want to add my panel on Jframe, and then we test and see how it's going to come out. So the panel here, we can say panel.add. Okay, the Jframe, I can call the Jframe with this keyword this.add what? A component, and then the component I want panel to be within it. Please, let's try to understand. This is a keyword, not the English this. It is a keyword. What it means by this is that you call in the Jframe itself. So you adding, I have what? Done, I've added the panel on what? On the Jframe. Jframe is a built-in class, so we imported the Jframe. Since we have extended this extension, this keyword extends means we want to inherit something from somewhere. This is our class, a user class. This is an already defined class, a built-in class. So when you say extend, it means you are extending this onto here. That means you are inheriting the properties of Jframe built-in class onto your own created class. So in the Jframe, the class itself, you can call the class as what? This. Since you are within it, you can call it as this. So that's the meaning of this keyword. Please search from the 3 books I've given you. The the all-in-one Java how to program for dummies. The 2 versions, and the Java how to program for the detail. So you see more explanation about the keyword this. Next, I want to display this. I want to run it. Actually, when you run, it will not display anything. Let's try. You can just right-click and click on Run As, and then move to what? Run As Java application. It runs. It has run, but you won't see anything because you haven't instructed it to display something for you. So for it to display, you now have to say, let me write a comment here. Displaying the window. So then the first thing you do is this dot set, sorry, small letter, this dot set what? Visible. This dot set visible means what? That it should display it for you. So, but it is a Boolean value. So you take the true. If you say false, actually by default it is false. That's why it doesn't display for you. But now that you've given it, now if you should run, right click and run as, and then you click. Can you see something here? It is started displaying, but it's displaying nothing has been given. I intended to bring this for you, for us to understand what we're doing actually. So now when I click, you see this, it's blank, nothing. All right. Now let's give it a size. This dot set size. This is the size. The size is in form of dimension. Let's say 250 by 150. Okay, so let's run again. Can you see now? You see the size? This size is not enough. So let's give it a realistic one. Let's say 500 by 250. Okay, instead of 500, let's say 500. Thank you. So you see it has started coming up like this, but no title. So let's give it title. This does set title. The title is Cycle Matters, right? Someone suggested this. Cycle Matters. Good. I think next is so can you see what we're having now? This is Jframe. This is Jframe. But it's our class. We extended Jframe on it. So it has already acquired all properties of Jframe on it. So then why is it coming out from this angle, left top corner? Why? Let's now say this dot set location relative to then null. That means it shouldn't have it shouldn't select anything. So it should display at the center portion of the window. So now I think we're done with that. So let's now talk about our variables on it, member variables, right? Before we add panel here, now let's say I think we have txt radius. Sorry, let me start with radius. Txt radius equals to new textfield. So over here you need to specify. You need to specify the length of the characters you need. Let's say 10 characters. And you need this for all of them. You need for area, and you also need for, I think, peri, right? You need for perimeter. And then now let's do for label. The label radius, I think, equals to new. This what am I doing, please? This is what we call instantiation of objects or creation of objects. We are creating the object, we are instantiating. Okay? So for the label, you need to write on it. You write what is going to be displayed for the user on screen, radius. For this now, label area. So you give it area here. For next one, level, I think peri, right? Yes. Then you give it perimeter. Perimeter. Next is the BTN. You need to create for the BTN. I think we have BTN area, new J button, and then I need that of I think perimeter. I need that of clear. So that of close. Please, are you understanding what I'm doing? Not all. Maybe when I run, you understand it. So here you need to define the name of the button here. The button here is what? Area. And the button here is what? Peri. And the one here is clear. And the one here is close. So all these have been defined. You now need to add them on panel. So we already defined your panel as panel. So panel.add component. What are we adding? The first thing, this is where one has to be very careful. Otherwise, your screen will look somehow. You need to add label first before you add txt. Please understand, this is now where you are into. You add level here. Level, then txt, level, txt, level, txt. Okay? So the first thing you do is LBL radius. So it has been added on what? Panel. So you do same to label. Okay, not label. This time around txt. Txt what? Radius. So let's run and see. Can you see? Please, somebody should off that. Can someone off these lights for us to view it? Or I should zoom the. Let me magnify. Okay. Can you see what we've done? Radius. You see the default, the layout is what? By default it is flow layout. If I do something like this, can you see? It continues to place component on it. That's how flow layout is. Until when it is out of space, then it will create another line. So most likely we'll have to touch the size of the window. Okay? So let's do for the rest. So we've added only two here. Each line is having two different things. The first thing is LBL, I think it's area, right? LBL area, and then txt what? Area. So let's run. Can you see what happened? This is flow layout. It continues to arrange it until when it goes out of label, out of space, then it will create. Because we haven't done anything layout managers here. The default is flow layout. You're supposed to actually, go through layout managers later, so you can design it how you want it, actually. So now, if you don't want it here, you can then reduce the column side of it like this. Okay. So if you want to do that, then let's do it from here. This is the column. This is the column and this is the row. I hope I'm not mistaken. Let's test it. 180, and then we run. Can you see? But it is too tiny. So let's take it maybe 250 as it is. Can you see? But then we need to reduce a bit. Let's say 200 and say 10. These are things you do when you are learning how to develop for the first time. Can you see now you've gotten the actual thing, right? So then you need to do for the rest. What do I need to do? What's the next thing? What should be the next? This is what I have, right? I've done for radius, and then I need perimeter, right? I want to finish it maybe in the next 2 or 3 minutes. So the zooming is too much. So let's put other components. These are 2 components added. So the next should be for Perry, right? LBL Perry and TXT Perry. So if you run, you see LBL Perry and TXT. Can you see? Of course, the layout is not all that, it's not really pronounced. Let me reduce this to Perry, so we don't have problems with the layout, too much problems. We need to study layout managers later. So I think the next is for us to arrange our buttons. Is it? The button panel dot add component. Then we have what? BTN area. This is the first BTN, and then BTN what? BTN Perry, clear and exit or close. Perry, clear and close. So if you run from here, can you see what happened? I need to do something here. Maybe if it is something like this, it will be okay for us, right? Yes, it will look somehow, since layout managers have not been treated. So let me have maybe like 400 probably. Okay, you still more than that. Let's say 600. $600 is too much. Let's say 500. Somebody is suggesting 550. Let's see 500 first. These are pixels, okay? 500 is all right. So let's work with it as it is like this. So what we were able to do, we introduced the size as 500 by 250, and it ran correctly. So this is how you generate UI. Please, one thing I want us to understand is if I click on the button, nothing happens. These buttons are dormant. They are not working. They don't have life in them. They are not being given functionalities. You need to work for you to give them functionalities. Okay, they are dormant. So for the first time, we're going to stop the video here, so you can do same as we have done. Then later we continue.